Hey guys, this is the Motorcycle TransAm Podcast. A big shout out to all of our sponsors who are just as passionate about keeping this sport alive as we are. Legends Motorcycles, Sinless Cycles, Veritas Vintage, Competition Distributing, and the Antique Motorcycle Club of America. Thanks everybody. Stay tuned after the podcast for some videos from Matt's Garage. Hi everybody, we are back again this week with Matt Miller. Hi Matt, how are you?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Good seeing you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Nice bike in the background you got there.
Oh, thanks. Yep. Hey, I got to say congratulations to you, Sean, on your big win at Sons of Speed.
Oh,
proud of you, man.
Thanks for the compliment. Yeah, it was awesome. We had a lot of fun down there. Went down and got that single butt title back for Bill Page and Tom, you know.
Sorry to make it out that Saturday. My wife and I got a little busy, but nice videos, so good stuff.
Oh yeah. You guys were down there. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we were down there for a quick weekend. We flew out on Tuesday. We went back home.
Okay.
Yeah, that was some nice warm weather we had there. That was the best part.
The last 3 years I've been going down there, and this was the nicest year weather-wise. It wasn't too hot like normal.
Right.
You know, 2 years ago I was down there in March and it was in the high 90s. I'm like, wow. I couldn't wait to get back to Jersey.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's one extreme or the other down there. It's usually
I know.
Or rain, you know. You just never know what you're going to get in March. But
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's get started with a little bit of your background and how you kind of got into bikes and how you got into vintage bikes specifically.
Okay. Well, I always had an eye for old bikes. I've always ridden Harleys since I was 18. I had my first Harley, and I was always just drawn to flatheads, especially the 45-inch flatheads. They're still one of my favorites. And I knew a guy locally that was building them, and he was building them real cheap and affordable. He was getting a lot of people into the hobby. My friend Vic Northey, and I ended up from him, and that's what started it all. My 46 WL was my first antique bike, so that's what gave me the bug.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Do you have any favorite bikes or restorations, any modifications on the bikes that you do have that you really like?
Yeah, that's kind of a hard question to answer because whatever bike I'm riding at that time is my favorite bike. You know, I know many that are my favorite, but most currently, my 30 Indian 101 Scout that you've seen, Sean. That's kind of like my favorite one because it's the newest one to me. But my 26 JD, I did fantastic with that on the Cannonball, and that was my favorite bike the year before, you know. So this year, this should be my favorite bike.
Heck yeah.
I think what's going to end up happening is 25 Henderson I just got is going to end up probably being my overall favorite. I've yet to ride it. I'm making up some wheels for it to make it more rideable, and we'll see what happens. I think I'm going to fall in love with that one.
Yeah, I forgot about you getting that Henderson. That was a really nice bike. You just got that a couple of months ago, right?
There it is.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Right there.
Yeah, I
just got that in January.
Hendersons are like my favorite. I love those things.
Yeah. I like the fact that, you know, it's configured like a Harley with the throttle on the right, shifter on the left, and all that. So it should be easy for me to ride. I get a little twisted up on my Indian sometimes. You know, I just had to switch the throttle over to the right-hand side, and I just cross over the tank to shift it. I'm a little too old to learn new tricks at this point.
Yeah, Tom has that 47 knuckle. You might have seen it. They call it the Jinx Bobber. It's got the left-hand throttle and the right-hand shift.
I have seen it.
Yep. Yeah. Whenever I ride that, it takes about, I would say 25, 30 minutes for me to get kind of accustomed to it because it's like everything is completely backwards from what you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
Times up and down my driveway with it set up the way the Indian should be. And I'm like, no, I can't do it. I'm switching everything over.
Yeah, I feel your pain there.
I went toe to go instead, but I chickened out.
I think that you were one. You signed up pretty quickly to the race. So, what drew you to kind of sign up with us?
I did. Well, knowing Tom and Sean, and George, knowing the banks, and it being a brand new, inaugural event, I didn't want to miss out on it. you know. I didn't know how quickly guys were going to respond to that. I was like, after the Cannonball 2 years ago, I said, I'm done with all those events. I didn't want to do them. They take up so much time. But I wanted to do this one just because I like you guys so much. And back when I bought this motor and trans and started building this bike, I initially was building it for go cross country on. So I said, well, I've got to at least try it on this. Let me sign up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that is that the one that you were looking at Matt's when I was down there at Wheel Street?
No, that 15 Harley I'm over there. This one, I bought that motor and trans from Bill Page back in
right.
2019. That was Terry Richardson's spare motor, I believe.
Okay.
And I guess Bill was selling it for Terry or whatever. I ended up with the motor, and I've just been piecing together, collecting parts for it since then until, I'm at this point now where I have all the parts I need. And we did get this running last week, or just before I took off for Florida. We got it running one time, but the magneto just wasn't hot enough. And I just took it off and sent it to Morris Magneto. I'm not a magneto guy. And I was talking to them and they said, well, you know what, send it down. We'll make it really, nice and hot for you. We'll work out all the bugs. And, I'm waiting for that to come back. And, hopefully that'll be the end of my problems and I can start dialing it in from there. So.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We deal with more. They're good guys. They we actually carry their mags and stuff, and they're anytime you have an issue, Eric's more than willing to help you out.
Yeah. I've been talking to Eric and another guy that answers the phone. Eric, they were very helpful.
Let's talk about your bike a little more.
Happens.
Do you have any other modifications that you've put on specifically because you know how far we're going and everything and how tough it's going to be on the bike?
Yeah. Well, the wheels, those are those smoothie rims. I got those from Bill at the same time. You got to have a front brake, but they were already built up. They've got those there. They're coming off. I've got some Dunlops to put on there. Some of those heavy duty inner tubes. I run them all the time now. And what else? I probably won't do the event with that seat on there. I'm not going to do 4,000 miles with a bicycle seat, But that's really about it. The usual stuff that you do, getting a bike ready for a cross country trip like that, an old bike like this. Probably change the gas line, put some flex line in there, and the normal things you do.
Yeah, so, kind of mileage proof.
Yeah.
That way it can take the vibration and pounding across all the way across.
Exactly. Yeah, that. And obviously I'm going to have some saddlebags for it, and I'll have to come up with some kind of a tour pack. Maybe a box up there instead of a tour pack, the one that I always use, just because I want to look more correct to the year of the bike. Maybe a wooden box up there or something.
Right.
It's a Magneto model, so I've got to have some lighting on it. I'm sure that's going to be one of the requirements. So I'll just run a sealed battery to some LED lighting in the headlamp and the tail lamp, and just bring it in the room and charge it every night.
Yep.
Simple things like that,
Yep. I did the same thing with my 25 JD. It's a Magneto. I just have a little 12-volt sealed battery LED battery I charge up.
Even you don't have to run the headlight all day. If it's a nice sunny day, turn it on in the morning, and towards midday you can shut it off and save your battery. But at least I'll have a good brake light on it. That's important. I like to be seen.
Yeah, especially when you're riding an old bicycle across country.
Yeah.
That's right. So this will be the oldest JD I've ever ridden once I get it finished. My 26 is the oldest one I had before this. So a lot of this will be new to me, and I'm new to JDs, so it's going to be a big learning experience for me doing this, but I'm connected with some good seasoned riders, and me and Tim are going to be sharing a ride with Mark Tatum and Brian. We're going to be sort of teaming up and sharing Tim's truck and trailer.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that'll be nice. Those guys, those guys have been across a couple times. You'll have good experience with you. So.
Yeah. How many miles do you think you'll put on before we actually go?
At least 1,000. anywhere from probably 600 to 800 or maybe 1,000 miles. That's what I did with my 26. I mean, I really had that thing dialed in, and it paid off. It was uneventful for me because I had all the bugs worked out of it before I even started.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to do that to this too. You know, I'm not one of those guys that slaps it together and, hey man, it's together. Let's give it a test run. Go out and test run. Okay, we're ready to go. Load up. We need to get down to Hatteras. You know, no, that's not me.
Yeah, we went. Our combined team miles in the 21 Cannonball was me, Tom, and George. I think we had a total of maybe 20 miles on all 3 bikes. It was a wonderful experience.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It wasn't by choice. It wasn't by choice.
I'm a firm believer in prepare. So
yeah.
You know, and I'm not as confident in myself because I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a JD guy. I've been motorcycling my whole life, but these are relatively new to me, and I want to make sure there's I'm going to do what I can to make sure there's no unforeseens. You know, things like you know, a blown tire. You can't do anything about a blowout or something like that. Something that might happen internally on the motor. Some things are out of your control, but it's all the other little stupid crap that happens because they don't prepare.
Right.
You know.
Yep. Yeah. One of the biggest things with the JDs I noticed, like when you're riding them for a distance, is like just always making sure your manifold's tight. I mean, I'm sure it's the same with the flathead stuff, the VL and everything else, but your manifold and then the pockets, those pocket nuts, you know, it's like they always tend to back off a little bit. Keep a tube of easy turn in your bag for sure. That stuff, it seals everything. It's amazing. Fuel, oil, everything. So.
Yep, that's right. I use that on everything. Even when I draw these up, I put them on the flanges and the nuts just to help draw everything up tighter. I put it on the threads everywhere. I'm a firm believer in that stuff. And you talk about the intake manifold. That's something I check, I think, twice a day, every day on the can.
Yep. Yeah, that's like the biggest thing. You know, those things will start leaking, and people are like,
burn your motor up that way. You know, start sucking air.
Yeah.
So, you know, I watched that happen to Tim Burns on one of the chases on his VL. His intake manifold nut came loose, and I think that's what burned the hole in his. And that, you know, I make mental notes every time I see something like that. Okay, now I know this. I got to do this. You know, you learn with each ride. You know,
right.
So, do you want to talk about motorcycling in general and what some of the memories you have with maybe like a family, a mentor, friends, anybody?
Lois and I will ride together, but only on modern bikes. I like to have something with good brakes. But, you know, as far as going across country in the 80s and the early 90s, I used to ride out and ride back from Sturgis. I did that like 11 years in a row.
Wow.
And then more recently, then my kids were born, and I took 20 years off to be at home with the kids. And then I started getting back into motorcycling on the antique level. In 2017, a buddy of mine here from New Jersey, my buddy Tim, and I shipped our bikes out to Dudley Perk Harley. We're both working full at that. I could only afford like 2 weeks off. So we shipped our bikes out there. We flew out there. We did a cross-country trip on them. That was a really neat experience. And then I started doing the chase, and then I did a Cannonball. That's my favorite motorcycling. You know, way more than I had some good times motorcycling when I used to ride out to Sturgis and down to Florida and things like that. But on modern bikes, but nothing beats doing it on an old flathead or a JD or something. That's what I prefer to ride now. You know, that's a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, that sense of accomplishment you get when you make it across on something that old, you know, being able to keep it running that entire time. It's just like, it's a really cool feeling, you know, because there's a lot of people that look at you like you're crazy, you know.
Oh, I know. You be riding along and people come up alongside you and they got the window down, honking the horn, giving you the thumbs up. You know, but, that first time I did it in 2007, 47U over there, that was a lot to be proud of. You know, something I always wanted to do, man. I'm thinking about doing this. Is this something you'd ever entertain? And he goes, absolutely. We put that trip together and we just flew there to San Francisco, picked our bikes up, and we just played it by ear. We had no plan, but we went up into Northern California on the coast, and then we started heading east from there, and we had some good time. We went into Reno, went through Utah, Colorado. We did the Monarch Pass. That was the first time I did the Monarch Pass.
Oh yeah,
on the 47 Flatty. That was really neat. And that, again, like you said, you don't know what's going to happen. It's every day was an adventure. On a modern bike, it's what's going to happen. You're going to wake up, you're going to put the key in, you're going to hit the starter, it's going to run, and you're going to go. But you don't know that on an antique bike. That's thrilling. So anyway, good times.
Yep. Every mile's a blessing, man. Every mile's a blessing. That's what I always say.
You got that right. That's for sure.
So what are you looking forward to the most with a Trans Am versus like what you've done in the past?
Riding 100-plus-year-old motorcycle. That's a new thing for me. Like I said, this will be the oldest bike I've ever ridden, and then I'm going to be riding it hopefully 4,000 miles. So that'll be cool. I'm looking forward to that. Museums, some of the stops that we're going to do, but and riding with the people that I've met over the last 5 years doing this. I really enjoy their company, and to be able to be in the same group with them all around across the country is thrilling. That in itself, the camaraderie of it.
Yep, it's gonna be a fun one. There's a lot of the old timers, the guys that did this a long time ago, in the initial stages of the Cannonball are coming back for this one, so it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It'd be a good time.
Yeah. Are you doing anything special, like mentally or physically, to prepare?
Well, mentally, I'm psyching myself out like I always do. That's just my nature. But physically, I'm trying to shed some pounds. That's a very difficult thing to do. But I want to give the bike every chance it can have, and if I can make myself 20 pounds lighter, I think that's a big deal. But other than that, no, it's just making sure things are lined up back at home while you're gone on the road for so long. But everything else is just what you normally do to prepare for these.
You've had a chance to look at the route a little bit on the website or through my posts and everything. So are you excited for any particular stop, or are you really preparing any particular day?
I'm really excited, like I said, for the museums, Wheels Through Time, especially, when Matt's out there greeting us. He has so much enthusiasm. He's always, with such enthusiasm, it's always good to roll up to Wheels Through Time.
Yeah.
Kelly, and the way they put a hosted lunch on, nobody does one better than him. And I'm really excited to go out to the Legends Motorcycle Museum. I've never been there. I rode with Rick Salisbury on the 2019 Chase, but I've never been out to his place. I'm looking forward to that, and most especially the Air Museum. I'm a big airplane enthusiast, and I want to see that Spruce Goose. I'm excited about that. I'm especially glad we're finishing in the Northwest. In the Northwest, not the Southwest. I'm not a high temperature guy. I hate the heat, so I'm glad we're finishing up in Oregon. That's a plus to me.
Yeah, we wanted to try and switch things up a little bit, finish on the West Coast, obviously, but somewhere different besides California. It seems like you always go to California, but
it's a great choice. I think you picked with Oregon. I love the Northwest. So my brother used to live in Oregon, used to live in Seattle. I used to live in Juneau, Alaska, up there. I love that area.
Oh, cool! That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be a big announcement for the finish line this week, so I'm really excited about that. So everybody should stay tuned. Yeah, I'll give you riders and crew a little heads up tomorrow, probably, but everybody else, I'll announce it later this week. Good. It is very exciting.
Okay, good. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So, that's a mystery so far, so you'll let us know.
She likes to do that, Matt. She keeps everything.
No, I like to have big announcements, and I want to make sure everything's good to go before I announce it. So we're all good. I am so excited.
What's the most challenging thing about working on these old bikes to you? What's the thing you're always oh man, I got to do this, or is there anything at all that you're intimidated about? But
not really. No, I think that the most challenging thing is locating parts and the correct parts.
Right.
Yeah, it's they're hard to find, and even though this bike this is not an original bike, obviously. This is a cross-country bike. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of reparts on it. But the idea is to build it so that it looks, one of the things that was important to me was to have the correct rear fender, with the single strut coming down and the removable tailpiece. I wanted it to look like a 16, even though I've got a later primary on it, a really crappy repop front fender, but it's as close as I could make it look to a 16.
Yeah, I think it looks really nice. I mean, obviously we're looking at it through a video screen, but I mean, you did a really nice job blending everything.
Yeah, thank you. That's something I like to do. I like to patina them to make them look old and sweaty. They're my favorite bikes. When I see guys that have original paint bikes and they're just full of oil and grease and shit and dirt, I'm like, wow, I'd love to find a bike like that. Well, they're hard to find, though. I try to make them look like they're that, just for fun. I do my patina jobs on them.
Oh, it looks great. And you did a nice job on that. That's we're the same way. Like, I don't know, you probably seen Lucy, the 38 Nuck that Tom's got, and then, the 37 flathead Wolfie with the wolf.
Oh, I love that 37 flathead.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's all patina style, we love that. So.
Yeah, those glow lights he has on the front wheel, they're
badass. The Ring of Fire. Yeah, the Ring of Fire.
Yeah,
those are killer. Yeah, we were riding those bikes down in Florida here this last week. We were down there racing, and I turned on the Ring of Fire, and we're going down, 40 there or whatever. I think it's 44. Yeah, we're going down 44, and it's like, it was the first time we rode it at night. It was just lit up. Tom was going crazy because it was on the 38 I was riding, and he was on the 37. So pretty cool stuff.
It looked cool.
Okay, yeah. He showed them to me when we were at Rinkers at the Hillbilly Escape, but they weren't all working and something was loose. But I was glad to see he got them all fixed up and working because it's a pretty cool accessory for that period.
Oh yeah. Yeah, people can't believe that's like period correct either. I've told a ton of people like, oh, those are period correct. What? They come, it's just cool stuff like that.
Right. I couldn't believe it either. I'm like, what did he do? Did he go to Walmart to the bicycle center there and get something for a kid's bike? And he's like, no, man, this is the real deal. It was so cool.
Yeah, he's got. I think he's got 3 of them now. He's got 3 bikes of them. He's got the 38, the 50. He's the Doris Panhead. Has it on there, and he has another new old stock in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Wow, that's had to be hard to find.
Yeah, you don't see them very often, but.
No, I Googled him when I got back after he told me about him, and I looked like on eBay and I didn't see anything, nothing. Yeah, you're right. He did tell me they were the Ring of Fire, right?
Yeah, their dad had them when they were kids. That's how they came to know him and fell in love with him.
Okay,
he had them on his.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, they're super cool. So do you have any funny or unusual stories from, being on the road all these times on a cross-country trip or just anything really?
I thought about that question. I knew you were going to ask me that, but and I'm trying to think, not just the normal, antics that happen, but nothing that stands out really. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of a boring guy.
Hey, it's all right.
Sorry.
You get across. That's what matters.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for other people riding in this event or future events like this?
Yeah, prepare. Just prepare. Put those break-in miles on your bike, and just ride like every weekend you can. Put 50 to 100 miles on every weekend between now and the event, and just make sure you're totally prepared for the thing. Go over your parts list, lay them all out in your shop, go over them 3 and 4 times, and then in this way, when you get there, you can relax and both buddies not be constant with bike, and that could still happen even with all that preparation. As well as I do, you could still have that kind of bad luck. And the other thing is don't toot your horn too loud, with the social, because then you're going to fall flat on your face when you do. I'm a little superstitious that way, I stay off the social media, and Lois and my daughter want to come down for the start, and I'm like, no, we're gonna fly out to the finish. I'm like, yeah, but I could break down 4 days before that, and I won't even be there, So
he won't leave you behind, Matt. We'll make sure you get to the finish.
Yeah, you can still
I
make.
appreciate that.
We're not going to leave you stranded.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Yeah, you're. If they want to come see at the
That's
finish,
good to know.
it would be a nice one to go see because she's got a nice one laid out. So.
Okay, well, we'll wait to hear that. As soon as Lois hears that, she may just say, "I don't care what you say, Matt. I'm flying out." You know, so
right.
kind of does what she wants. She's
she'll let
she's
you.
got a strong mind that way.
What are you hoping to kind of take away from all this, from this experience? I know you've done this stuff before, but what do you want to take away this time? Anything in particular?
Yeah, I want to make every mile. That is the most important thing to me. But I don't have to win. I'm a competitor to myself. I want my bike that I put together. I didn't build this motor, but I put the bike together. I built it in that respect. And I'm going to do all the prep work and everything like that. It's very important to me to make every single mile, get the most out of that, and that can be hard to do, I've never, like I said earlier, I've never ridden a bike this early before. I can't imagine it being that much different than my 26, but I think I've got the skills and the patience to do what it takes to run it right, not abuse it, and that it can have to get across. That and of course the camaraderie with all the other riders. It's just so cool being around that crowd.
Yeah.
It's you a lot of these guys you meet and they're good friends all of a sudden, but you really only get to see them once a year, so you really look forward to that. That's kind of what keeps bringing you back to these events, even though I wasn't going to do another one, and here I am.
Never say never.
That's right. That's like every time over at my club when I say I'm done buying bikes and I'm not buying any more parts, I'm on a buying freeze. The whole crowd just laughs. Funny.
Yeah, right.
Oh shit. Yeah. It's Sean. It's a disease, man. It gets in your blood, right?
Oh, dude, it's the worst kind. I think, really. Yeah, it takes over everything.
Yeah, sure does.
You must be close to Philly because I can only hear a Philly accent coming from you.
Yeah, we're pretty close to Philly. We're definitely a lot closer to Philly than we are to New York. So we're probably 30 minutes from the Philadelphia airport and 20 miles from the Jersey Shore. So we're kind of central New Jersey, but the southern people would say the southern part of New Jersey. It's way different, way different down here than it is up north.
Yeah.
I used to live close to Philly. I was in Exton for a while. I went to school there after high school, trade school.
Oh, okay. Yep. That's cool. Yeah, it's where I'm at, there's still a lot of farmland. All my neighbors were. It's not the concrete jungle that everybody pictures it to be. At least not down here.
Right. What's like the most meaningful thing for you to get out of all this? I guess like with preserving antique motorcycles. Like is that why you do it, is to keep the history alive, or what drives you to keep doing this kind of stuff?
Absolutely, to keep history alive. Yeah. I have a strong passion about these old bikes, and anybody that's ever restored them, I'm not the kind of guy that can go out and buy a complete bike. I've always pieced all my bikes together. And when you do that, how much work to put them back to being original, or looking as close to original as possible, and then getting them to run and then to ride them is even way cooler. And also too, I don't want to ride something that everybody else is riding. Anybody can go to a showroom and buy a bike and ride it, and they're a biker,
Yeah.
It's just, I'm in a different place right now. I want to ride the bikes that nobody else is riding. And I do it for me, for my own satisfaction, man. When I'm going down the road on an old bike like this, and I'm on a road where there's no traffic and it's a safe environment, it just puts a huge smile on my face. Much joy. I think this is promoting our hobby in a great way, to bring bikes like that a lot of people out there has never even seen a bike this old. They don't even know they exist still, and to ride them across country, that's and be part of that. That's you make all the miles. I'm not doing this to win or get a trophy or anything. I'm doing it for bragging rights for myself. Yep. That I can look back someday and say, yeah, man, in 2025, I took a 1916 across country, either I made every mile, or I only made it so far, but at least I tried, so. That's what I love about these old bikes, man. It's just, I love collecting them. When I sit in my shop here on a Friday night, got the wood stove going, man, I got some cool bikes to look at. My new bikes aren't in here. Well, my one new bike, there's nothing cool about that, These are cool. This is what I sit and stare at,
Yep.
Just look at the lines at it. You can't tell me that's not a pretty bike,
Oh, yeah. I get it. Oh. I get it.
Yeah, I got something I want to show you, too. I had my painter do something for me. I had picked up this front fender plate in Ole last year, and everybody always asks,
"Oh, that's cool.
What year bike is sitting on there?" So I figured, TransAmerican Motorcycle Endurance Run is a mouthful. That's a lot to say. So I said,
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Yep. I think that looks cool on the front, So.
I'm going to do some rapid fire questions. They're never very fast.
Sure.
For anybody else. So.
Okay.
What's your favorite vintage motorcycle brand?
Harley-Davidson.
I wasn't sure because you have that Henderson now. So.
I know, but I haven't ridden it yet. That could change next time you ask me.
What's a dream bike that you'd love to own?
Well, I just got it. A 4-cylinder. I just got the Henderson. So I really can't think of anything else. I kind of always wanted an Excelsior, but I don't know. Since I got that Henderson, I think I'll just sell a couple and then be done with
it. Heck yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite tool in your garage?
It's coming. It's one of them pit start. I finally broke down and bought, I can't keep kicking these things. And I was having so much trouble starting this one. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get one of those pit starters, the something Z, all that thing. Doc Z.
Oh, that's the same one we got.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
Yeah, we used
I just ordered it.
All our race bikes.
Okay. Yep. I just ordered it before I went to Florida, and the guy emailed me. Ironically, it's built 20 minutes from my house here in Englishtown, New Jersey. So he asked me if I would come pick it up rather than ship it. He saved me $100. So I'm like, yeah. But I don't have it yet, but I think that's going to soon to be my favorite tool in the shop here.
Those things are
the old knee just can't. I can start them and all if they're dialed in, but sometimes you can't get them dialed in until they're started. And that's going to certainly help.
Do you do coffee or tea in the morning when you're riding?
Oh, Bud Light for sure. No, just kidding. No, I'm coffee. I used to be tea, but in the last 5 years, I'm coffee now.
Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if you could ride anywhere in the world right now, where would you ride?
Since so much country, I would like to ride into Europe. Germany and that part of Northern Europe. I've never been there. I've only been out of the country one time because I've always said, with Lois, every time we take vacation, there's so much to see here in our own country. Let's see all this first before we start heading abroad, But if I ever had the opportunity to go over there and ride, I would like to do that someday. Yeah, just to go out there and see the history that I've only ever seen on TV from here,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure, there's a lot out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for your closing thoughts or any messages for the riders, the fans, the crew?
Just to have a good time, enjoy, the company that's around you and take it all in. And like I said earlier, prepare.
Yep.
You'll have a better time if you do, right?
Yep, that's true. That's very true.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So that is it for this week. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks, Matt.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. Good talking with you.
Yeah, you too.
My 1915 Model 11E I picked up last year. I'm waiting on some pedal cranks for that. Gotta do a little modification to the gas tank, get that painted. That's a really cool one. Here's an all original 1920 I got a few years back. I want to just make that run and just make that as a swap meet runner, run it around the swap meets. I'm not going to rebuild or touch it any more than I have to on it. 34 VL, beautiful. Used to be still is one of my favorite bikes. My 47U and my 37 UL that the motor's out of. This is my 1925 Henderson Deluxe I just bought in January of this year. I've yet to ride it. It's still got clincher wheels on it, which looks beautiful that way, but I'm gonna make up a new set of wheels with some 19-inch drop center rims so I can feel a little bit more comfortable riding it. I'm very excited about this one. I've only taken a little loop around the parking lot with it, but I'm very proud to own that. I got to thank the Rinker family for making that possible for me. My 101 Scout. Such a reliable bike, fun bike to ride. Really like that. And my 26 JD that I did the Cannonball on 2 years ago. So here's my 1916 TransAm bike. Just about done with this one. I'm waiting on the magneto to come back. Had some spark issues with it. My front fender plate. My new tires I got to get mounted up for it. They'll be going on there. Little gas tail light. I'm going to put LED lights in there, run a battery inside the toolbox, put a sealed lead acid battery in there, hide some wires, run them to the lights. Same with the gas headlight. I've already got a LED light that's going to drop in there.